live?
Yeah, we're
I'm still finishing up my notes here really quick. I type really fast, so I usually only do them in the 10 seconds before we go live, as you know.
We have notes for this?
You don't?
It doesn't really feel like I do.
What? I put it down for you to say.
No, I am reading straight from the script.
See? Hi everyone, I'm Graham.
And I'm Ashkahn.
Nice, still on script.
And today is another edition of the Bathrobe Chronicles, where we come to you from
our bathrobes.
Yep.
Yeah. And our homes as well. Home.
Yeah.
Singular.
Which we refer to as the Great Bathrobe. Encompasses us all.
Yeah, so we got a couple more guests from the float world coming on with us today. We've been calling around to some of our bathrobe buddies, as we call them, and yeah, just checking in, see what people have been up to during the closure. Maybe get some practical tips on how they've been handling float tanks, but to be honest, less practical tips and more very entertaining, casual conversation. So yeah, if you're just joining us for the first time, you know,
what have you been keeping yourself occupied this entire time? You know, what do you even have to do other than watch a couple guys in their bathrobes?
So we thought we'd carry on that trend today, and yeah, call up a couple more friends we got here.
That's right. Who are calling?
We are calling Mark and Jennifer Gurley of Infinity Floats down in Houston, Texas. And their awesome fun fact about the Gurleys is that their T-shirt is Jake's most worn T-shirt during our apprenticeship class.
Yeah. That
we teach. Yeah, it's like a special construction day apprenticeship T-shirt comes straight from these two. So I know of no higher praise is what I'm saying.
All right. Here we go.
You could have just called him during that. I would have talked over the ringer. You know? I'm showing some skin here. This robe got on a little bit.
Hello, Mark and Jennifer.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Good to hear your voices. Hold on, let us get your little your faces up here on the camera so that people can see who you are.
Oh, excited to see what photo you have.
There we go. Yeah, this one is a little bit of a setup. So yeah, done. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, man. It's nice to hear both of you guys' voice.
Yeah, definitely. So how have you two been holding up down there?
You know, just the delay just hit the pictures on the iPad.
Excellent.
I have that robe. That is amazing.
Yeah, we've been doing good. You know, I mean, it's all things considered, right? We're changing the bars on a lot of things, so all things considered, we're doing okay. I actually have a full-time job elsewhere, which has been ramped up.
Oh.
So while you guys are hanging out in your bathrobe, my work has kind of doubled since all this COVID stuff. And Jen's been staying really busy as well.
Yeah, I tend to just go to the shop every day and make sure the tanks are all happy and alive and breathing well, and trying to get all our ducks in a row and get ready for the tentative reopen.
Yeah.
You've Mark, you've had another job the entire time, like through opening a float center?
Yeah. That's actually, ironically, the reason we opened a float center is because I was so stressed out at my other job. We thought this would be cheaper than me floating as often as I needed to, but we're not quite there on the break even yet.
Oh man, yeah, starting up a float center to get like relief while you work another job is not like the most common thing that I've heard people say. You know, that it's like being like, man, we're really stressed out. Like, let's have another kid. You know, that always mellows out the family dynamic.
Absolutely.
That's funny. So what is your other job? I actually forget what you're doing with your other time.
Yeah, so my career has been involved in reliability engineering and asset performance management for like large petrochemical refining, power generation, those type of guys. So
wow, sounds very serious.
Yeah, that's
like more serious than anything I've done in my entire life. It's just that sentence that you said.
Minus this show.
We got acquired by GE a few years ago, so it's been a lot different working for a company that's got 300,000 employees. So it's been challenging.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's wild. So when did that happen? After you'd opened your float center, like somewhere in the in between zone there?
Right at the beginning. It was fortuitous actually, because the buyout. My old company was a private company, and we were kind of redlining. We did the bootstrap thing that a lot of the other folks had done, trying to open up a float center. We got a little bit of a small business loan, but it didn't cover everything by far. So we were pretty tight, and just without any warning, over the course of a day and a night, really within a 24-hour period, my company announced we may be entering into an agreement with GE, and then 24 hours later, welcome to GE. We're now a GE. You're now a GE employee. And fortunately, our previous owner, who again was a small business owner himself, had owned the company for 20 years, had set aside a fund for all employees. So it's kind of like we didn't have stocks, obviously, because we're a private company, but the longer you were there, the more shares you had in the company. So really, in a very real sense, GE kind of funded our float center, because we got a nice little payout from the sale.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, yeah, when like a giant company buys out your current one, yeah, and you've been around there for a while. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's we talk to a lot of people who come through the apprenticeship class who are working other jobs right now, and a lot of them, like, sometimes we joke that it's like corporate rehab is like entering the float world or going through our apprenticeship class, because there's so many like realtors and like people who are just like middle-level management or higher-level management and like these big, just conglomerate companies. And one of the questions they hit is like, when should I think about quitting the job that I'm currently working and starting a float center? And I think a lot of them are like ready to quit right now, probably like you were back then. They're like, because I want you to tell me like today. Like, I want you to tell me just quit this second and go pursue my float center dream. But I always tell them to, hang on for as long as they can, really, and even consider, if they can get through opening to, hold on to a job. Sometimes it's obviously not possible, or scaling back hours, but, having that bit of financial relief and stability separate from everything that you're putting into your small business and how uncertain that is just feels kind of like a more sane option. So having kind of gone through that, do you agree, or do you wish that you'd given up your job back then, or like where do you stand on people, just kind of deciding to or deciding not to keep their jobs as they're entering into this whole new crazy salty world? Well, you still there? Our connection's looking good.
Risk tolerance, right?
Oh, we lost you guys for just a second there. You just came back on.
Oh, all right. So you can hear me clear now?
Yeah, now you're coming through, yeah.
So I was saying, I think it depends for every person, because different people have different risk tolerances depending on, everything from how old are you, do you have any other debt in your life, do you have dependents that are depending on you, stuff like that, right? So Jen and I were pretty unique, well, at least for us. We've been married quite a long time. We have no dependents other than a dog and half of a cat. and we had very little debt going into this, so there wasn't a lot of risk. Looking back, we might be further along in the company if I would have quit, just further along with the float center. But there was always that parachute, that safety net, with having benefits and medical and insurance and having a steady income. Where we've had some really bad months, right after we opened, the first summer we opened, Hurricane Harvey came through Houston and just killed all the business in Houston for, a good 2 months. And I think if we would have been redlined and really dependent on income from the float center, that would have probably ended Infinity Float. But fortunately, my pay was enough to pay everything from the company side for a short period of time. I can float the company in full if need be. So I think that's really helped, and it's also helped us make some decisions that we probably would have shied away from, because if those decisions don't pan out and they're negative impact, then it could irrevocably hurt our business, but we have the safety net. That being said, I'm definitely on a countdown to getting out of my business.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to open a business with a partner to only find out the partner is actually only around occasionally. He's really just a sounding board and on the ground when I fall apart trying to figure out how to get things done and what to do next.
Yeah, I think as some of you guys know, some of the folks that I meet and we talk with in the community, part of my job is traveling. So I lead a global team, and I travel all over the world for, I'm probably on the road 50 to 80% of the time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And not down the road. I'm in really weird time zones and, may or may not have connectivity, etc. So it's difficult. Ironically, that kind of came to a head in December, and I accepted a new position within my company. I was asked to lead a new, bigger team, and my only concession was as long as I have less than 20% travel. And they agreed to it, and then the whole world shut down. So I've had like 0 travel. Nice.
That's funny, yeah. So are you doing, when you say you're working a bunch, I assume you're doing remote work from home, or are you actually still getting out somewhere during all of this?
No travel.
Literally no travel.
Yeah.
So my entire team, my team is 12 folks. They all work remotely from West Coast all the way to Malaysia, and pretty much every time
Wow.
in between. And we're used to that. We're used to traveling a lot too. What's interesting though is like the rest of the business world really catching up very quickly on virtual meetings and Skype and Microsoft Teams and all the good stuff. So I think it's going to have a big change though. I mean, just the way companies do business in general forever. A lot of companies I'm aware of are closing offices. Not because they're reducing headcount, but just because this is a forced experiment, and they're
Right.
seeing now that they don't really have to have brick and mortar offices to get the productivity done. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in the next few years.
Yeah, it certainly, I think, forced a lot of people to have that nudge to kind of like get the tools in place and realize that, this sort of work structure is possible.
Yeah, and we've actually had some projects that are ahead of schedule now for the simple reason where we didn't have to get people on the ground at the same time. So yeah, it's interesting. It's also incredibly frustrating to meet with people who are not used to meeting in Skype meetings, going all the etiquette and protocols and all that with another 10,000 people in the workforce.
Yeah, they forget to mute their phone at the right time. You just hear chips coming over, or bags crinkling.
Yeah.
Classic.
Stuff in the background.
Yeah, someone just yelling at their dog, quiet. You're like, you be quiet, mute yourself. Get a handle on it.
That's right. But we're looking forward to a change. I think Houston is starting to open up. We just entered, I guess, what they call phase 1 on last Friday. So restaurants and some non-essential retail and stuff. So it looks like another couple weeks, and we're going to start trying to open up as well.
Oh yeah, interesting. Do you guys have staff?
We do, yeah. We have 3 primary staff and then 2 contract therapists doing massage and acupuncture. And we were able to do kind of a reduced hours for the staff. They did some remote work, and there's been a couple of unemployment claims for reduced hours, unemployment assistance, things like that. Along with everyone else, we've been fighting, for CARES stimulus funding. We did just get PPP funding on Friday, right? Thursday.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. That was, as everyone knows, it's been a battle. We filled out so many forms, so many times.
Yeah.
So many different it finally paid off. So, that took a lot of pressure off. SBA has been really good to deal with in terms of, they're forbearing some of the payments. Property management not as lenient, but they've been working a little bit. So yeah, it's been not quite as much of a nightmare as some of the other folks, but a lot of it is because we have some cushion there.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And what have you guys been doing with the float center in the meantime? You said you're still going in and taking care of the tanks, so I assume you haven't drained them or anything. They're just kind of in maintenance mode right now, or are you guys still floating yourself or floating your staff? Like, is anyone hopping in there?
Yeah, we're just in maintenance. They do have an automatic system to them, but I just like to go in and make sure like they're running and checking all the pumps and everything. So I go in every day and spend a couple hours in there.
Nice.
Getting things cleaned up salt in places I never took the time to read.
It's like there's no one in the center and salt still pops up. Like, what is going on?
We floated a couple of times, just us.
Yeah.
Took advantage of it because, as everybody knows, you own a float center and you float less than anybody else in a 10-mile square radius. So we have floated a couple of times.
Yeah.
We have opened it up to our employees if they want to. We'll give them just kind of a basic protocol of this is how we're doing it. But only one person has taken us up on it so far.
Yeah, we ironically had a pump fail,
Yeah.
so had to tear down a pump and no one has floated in.
That's true. I forgot about that already.
I blacked that out. Yeah.
Also taking the time, like there's some, all those maintenance things that you want to get to, but you can't get in the 2-hour windows and stuff.
Right.
So cleaned out some vent piping, and we rearranged our main lounge and hung some new things on the walls, some new like whiteboard areas that we've extended. So we've done a few things too, just around the shop to kind of freshen things up a little bit.
Have you guys have you thought about how you're going to reopen, and if you'll be doing anything differently than how your place operated before?
Yeah, we're looking at opening up to members next weekend. Nice slow roll. We'll stagger appointments a little bit more. We looked into being more aware of touch points and trying to limit those as much as possible. So weird things like, Q-tips and deodorant and stuff that we have in our restrooms will get pulled. We've talked about how we're going to clean the inside of the tanks in between clients. Luckily we have zero gravity float cabins, so it's nice and easy just to walk in and clean everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, we've got, she's actually writing procedures out. That's what she's been doing the last couple of days, is writing what is different, the elevated procedure for, people can't just hang out in the lounge. Fortunately, we have an oversized shop for the amount of float tanks we have, just the space. So space is something
Texas.
we have.
Yeah.
So we can do, social distancing protocols fairly easily. Probably the only choke point is literally the doorway going into each suite, kind of getting in and out of that. But we have Infinity Float Center masks that we've made that we're going to be giving out. Yeah, her parents made that we're going to be giving out.
That's awesome.
And require masks for people, obviously for employees and people coming in. And we've got a few things, but it's definitely elevated above and beyond what we normally have done. Mostly, like Jen said, the touch points and the additional cleaning. We've added some turnover time in between the clients, so we can get in and actually wipe the walls down inside the tanks in between clients and stuff like that. So
Wow, between every float?
we're going to try it. Yeah, we're going to try it. We think we have a process down where we can make it pretty efficient. As you know, the cabins are pretty easy to hop in with some additional tools and cleaning. We're gonna be able to get in there really easily, and then we've got some UV sanitation we're gonna play with too. That we've got where we can pop into each tank. So quick wipe down, do UV sanitation for 10 or 15 minutes while we're cleaning the outside of the room and getting all that in. So
You're talking about like a standalone UV system you'd put in the tank to like try to disinfect the walls?
Correct. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Our tank has UV and hydrogen peroxide filtration in it, but yeah, this is like a little 360
right.
light for, I think it's a 100 square foot room is what it's rated for, but we're gonna rig it to just kind of hang from the ceiling. Obviously not while somebody's floating, but just between and pop it up with a suction cup or something, and just an added thing. There's no way to test the efficacy for us, but I think it'll help with customer sentiment as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting, like, both not knowing what the line to draw is on safety protocol, like, there's so much we still don't know about this whole pandemic, and at the same time, also, just wanting to do everything that you can to make sure that people feel comfortable coming back in as well. And fortunately, there's a lot of things that line up. But yeah, there are things like that where I'm like, I'm not even sure if this would be that helpful, but it does seem like it would make people more likely to come back in. So let's do it, Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we've been obviously it's been on everyone's mind, and we talk about it multiple times a day. We talked about it 10 minutes before this podcast started, this discussion started. Like, are we doing the right thing? Are we opening too early? Should we wait? I think in 2 weeks, May 18th, Houston is going to allegedly open like phase 2. So that's bars, gyms, spas, things like that. We've been deciding on whether to wait for that, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, this is going to be with us for a long time. So I think as long as we can take enough precautions that we feel we're not elevating the risk past anything else that we're seeing in terms of grocery stores and, kind of the mandatory stuff that everyone's participating in, then I think it's worth it. It's kind of I was telling Jen right before we started, it's what I always call like a blush face test. And can I get up and defend it to a reporter on TV or something? Are you putting people in harm, or do you think you're being responsible? And I think we have a system in place with enough protocol measures that I feel confident we're taking probably more precautions than any other, certainly any other retail business that I've been in the last month.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is nice that the kind of just natural operations of a float center are somewhat well suited to being able to implement something like this.
Yeah, for sure. So we're looking forward to it. I think we've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of people interested.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, like amongst the first talks of centers opening, I was very curious if it would be like a rush of people wanting to get their float after a long absence, or if it would be very light because of general hesitance. Mm-hmm. So interesting to hear that there has been a lot of interest.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks easily, we've had a lot of people calling. I said I'm up there every day, and we get probably one call a day, an email, Facebook post. People are really interested in getting back in the water.
Yeah.
Especially now, I mean, disconnecting more than ever, which is kind of everybody's kind of disconnected at the moment, but.
Yeah, it's almost like as long as people are being isolated, they might as well be isolated in the most comfortable possible way, right? That's how I've been looking at it. But I mean, same thing, especially our members, they've definitely been reaching out and really eager to get back into the tank. Some of them have tried to grease the wheels a little bit, they're like, what if a $100 bill were just to mysteriously appear under your door and, we were to have the key code to come in there and we'd clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
Which we say no to, just for the record, yeah.
Yeah, $100, I mean, up it a little bit.
Yeah, we say $250 or nothing.
That's right. I'd like to take the high road, but I do have a price there. So.
Everything has a price. That's what I tell my customers. Yeah.
How long do you guys think you'll be just running for members before you open up for non-members?
Probably just the week, because if everything else opens up, here's my logic, man. If we're saying gyms can open, then by God, my float center's going So I'm going to kind of hold it to that, and maybe even open it regardless of that going forward, depending on how we can go. I really think we've got a procedure in place that's fairly easy to adopt. It's easy to get people in and out of. Like I said, our shop is pretty spread out, so I don't think there's going to be any feeling of being kind of crunched in with other people. Even, at the pay desk, our main lobby is really big. We have 2 lounges, which I think we'll probably end up closing one lounge off completely and just restricting access to the other one. So we've got plenty of options that can get us back into business fairly easily, as long as local regulations allow it.
Uh-huh.
We've had some, I don't know if it reaches the news over there, but there's been some pretty high profile, Texan pride going on. If the government's not going to tell me what to do, I can do it. And, we're not going to be one of those people.
Yes, you've seen a little bit of that. It's kind of scattered all over the place for sure. Interesting. It definitely makes sense. And at the point that everything else is kind of going like normal, when there was this question before kind of everything started shutting down, it was really hard for us, and it has been hard for a lot of other float center owners, because people do get actual relief for medical symptoms from us. They get a lot of well-being out of floating, and this service that can do a lot of good. It's you want it to be out there providing good instead of these tanks just sitting in an empty center. So all of it. I'm also very excited for the day we get to feed the tanks, as I call it.
Yeah, I like that term.
Tanks are hungry, not going to feed themselves. Awesome, guys. Well, let's take a look in comments, and then we'll see if there's any last words you have for people here. Lots of hellos from people. Susan,
Well, hello.
Shelly, Derek. Yeah.
Shelly also has a shirt from you guys.
Nice. A bunch of posts from our team at Float Tank Solutions saying they feel called out for me complaining about conference call meetings. That's good. You should. Maybe you'll up your game now. Yeah. Kyle, thanks for joining. Brian, thanks for joining. See, we got this from Greg Griffin. He started thanking people, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what professionals do. That's right. We're professionals. Dan, Merle, thanks for joining in. Any last words for the hordes of loyal fans you guys have out there tuning in right now?
So, I'd say hello to everyone. We miss them all. Thanks for setting up stuff like this. I think we're diligently looking through the comments on Float Collective and kind of sharing the pain and the learnings that we're all going through. So I'd say stick with it. Obviously, if there's anything we can do, if anyone's looking for suggestions on procedures or on anything we've learned from financial or functional, reach out. We're an open book to anyone.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for that. It's what I've always loved about this industry, is just that everyone's always willing to help each other out, and awesome sharing an industry with you guys. I really hope that your opening goes smoothly and you guys get your tanks fed soon.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, before we part, I feel like everything's wrapping up and we're leaving, but we've got you pulled up on Facebook just on meeting. Can we get a hug?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little digital hug. Yeah. There we go. It's a little more papery than real life.
Yeah.
That was actually surprisingly fun.
Good. It felt really nice.
We're taking that to the bank with us, guys.
I get 100% forgiveness on the PPP loan. Look at this hug. I deserve it. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you again so much for joining in. It really was lovely talking to you and just hearing your voices again and catching up a little bit.
Anytime. Cheers, guys.
Cool. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay.
It's a slow hang up over here. All right. Well, that was fun. The Gurleys have been in our lives for a long time now.
That's
What,
right.
20, 30 years or something
Yeah,
like that?
since before I was born.
Yeah,
We go back to like the 1910s.
that's right. So, nice catching up.
Yeah. And we will be back on Thursday, May whatever that is.
Do you ever think that, like, I feel like Thursday, since it's the 4th day of the week, like this is Thursday sign, like Thursday.
Yeah, you do that, like the Thursday gang.
I did, yeah, you were just like Thursday, my instinct was to be like 4.
Yeah. Well, you saw it here first. It's gonna be big.
It's humongous.
It's gonna be
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, another day!
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Thanks, everyone.